what intentional or accident. I mean, there wasn't nothing intentional about it.
A man charged with manslaughter for a Winchester fire that killed 3 people gives us his side of the story in an exclusive interview from jail.
We will hear from a professional kayaker who went over Cumberland Falls and lived to tell about it.
WKYT investigates digital life after death. What happens to your social media pictures and posts after you're gone?
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening to you. He admits he was smoking before his oxygen tank caught fire. Today, a man charged with manslaughter for a fire that killed 3 people at a Winchester apartment building talked exclusively with WKYT from jail.
Jackie Heisel Jr.'s son was among those killed in the fire on Friday morning. Heisel made his first court appearance this afternoon, and he told us he has many regrets about what happened Friday. Victor Puente has the exclusive interview in our top story at 6.
That fire killed 3 people, injured 6 others, and destroyed 10 apartments. The man charged with starting it told us he was smoking while using oxygen, but he says he never meant to hurt anyone. Jackie Heisel Jr.'s arrest citation says he was warned about smoking while using his oxygen machine. It also says he was drinking last Friday when his oxygen line caught fire. He told us he tried to smother the fire with a pillow, then a blanket.
I started going up the walls and around the walls, and I just got scared and went out the door. And
3 people died in the fire. 29-year-old Tina Reynolds and 71-year-old Dixie Everman were Heisel's neighbors. 36-year-old Donald Heisel was his son. He says he'll never forgive himself for what happened.
I regret it every day. Like I said, I was up last night up crying about it in the morning, and even today I was trying to cover up, keep crying, think about it. He was my buddy.
But he also says he believes the 3 counts of manslaughter he's facing are too much because the fire was an accident. At his arraignment this afternoon, Judge Earl Ray Neal entered a not guilty plea for him. He also denied a public defender's request to reduce Heisel's bond.
I set the bond. I believe it is constitutional in light of the seriousness of the allegation. I believe that he is a danger to the community for lease.
Which means his bond will stay at $1 million.
So I just had to go back and do it over again, Like I said, I hate it for everybody.
Heisel will be back in court later this month for his preliminary hearing. In Clark County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Funerals were held today for 2 of those victims, Donald Heisel and Dixie Everman.
It is another unseasonably warm day across the bluegrass, but some strong storms have been popping up in parts of Kentucky over the last few hours. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell shows us what he's tracking right now for us. How about it, Jim?
And we're still looking at some of that rain and some of those thunderstorms working their way through eastern Kentucky. That's been the targeted zone to get in on some of the heavier stuff and even more of the true thunderstorms out there so far today. What we have is a weakening batch of rain overall from top to bottom, and you can even see this first wave, or at least the second wave going through, looking less impressive, and then you go out to the next one and again less impressive. That's going to be the trend, I think, that continues into the evening hours here. Even that batch on the backside there, it's likely going to take a very similar route, and probably including some lighter rain for the folks here in Lexington as well, but you see the track headed off over the next few hours here. Right now, the more intense area is right there in parts of Morgan County. West Liberty getting in on some of that heavier rain. Had some of that lightning and thunder associated with it a little while ago, and you can still see that heavier stuff just past West Liberty and parts of the eastern sections of Morgan County. So we're tracking that one, and we're likely going to track a few more through the area here in the coming hours. Here's what we've got with our high-resolution radar. Take you from 6 o'clock through the rest of the evening. There you see that second line, or well, really be the third line. There have been a few come through. The one that will pass through later on this evening into the nighttime period, and then eventually right out of town. We're going to have a couple more waves make runs at us this week, but overall we're drier than we are, we're more dry than we are wet, I should say. I'll track all of it and maybe even a few flakes of snow coming up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. New tonight, 2 inmates are back in custody after police say they ran off from their work release in Whitley County. Williamsburg police say 23-year-old Justin James and 24-year-old Michael Mays were arrested in Tennessee less than 2 hours after they ran off. The arrest came after a chase. Investigators say the two men are state inmates and they ran off from the State Highway Department garage on Highway 25 this afternoon. James is serving time for theft and burglary. Mays is serving time for theft and criminal mischief. Well, the video went viral online over the weekend. It shows two professional kayakers riding over Cumberland Falls. They ended up being cited for it.
Kentucky State Parks leaders say doing this is extremely dangerous. And tonight, one of the kayakers tells us what led to this wild ride. Hillary Thornton has their story.
This cell phone video captured the scene that unfolded on Saturday afternoon. Dozens watching as professional kayakers Nick Troutman and Dane Jackson plummeted over the Cumberland Falls.
Super intrigued by the waterfall, and we went there, scouted it out, set up our safety plan.
The two men capturing their rides on camera, receiving thousands of views on social media. They say it was a ride that was the result of hours of training and 15 years in the sport for Troutman.
Did not expect the video to go viral. We did not expect people necessarily to even be there watching it. It was more of just a personal goal that we had set.
However, achieving that personal goal potentially costing the men a couple $100 after being cited for trespassing.
It's marked no wading, no swimming, no boating in that area.
Park rangers out here at Cumberland Falls say those rules are in place for a reason, and doing what is seen in the videos is strongly discouraged.
It's quite dangerous for the people participating in that type of activities, as well as our rangers and the other first responders that would have to respond.
While Troutman says they are disappointed they were cited, they do understand why those rules are in place.
I definitely wouldn't encourage any bystander that was watching to just go jump in and give it a shot.
A fulfilling ride for the two athletes, something they say they hope to be able to do again legally.
Hopefully maybe we'd be able to apply for a permit or something like that possibly in the future, being that it really is just such a gorgeous waterfall.
In Whitley County, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
It's amazing at the end they stayed in the kayak. Troutman says that he hopes the video will bring attention to the sport and encourage others to get involved in training. New tonight, the trial of a man accused of killing a hunter in Clay County is now underway. Dwight Hughes faces murder, assault, and wanton endangerment charges. The trial began with opening arguments this morning. In 2014, Brian Griffin died and Jason Roberts was injured when they were shot while turkey hunting in Clay County. Investigators first thought the shooting was an accident, but a grand jury indicted Hughes months later. The trial was moved to neighboring Jackson County because Hughes' attorneys asked that it be moved.
New tonight, multiple law enforcement agencies say they worked together to arrest a fugitive. Clay City police say James Anderson Jr. faced charges for trafficking meth in Powell County. They say he also had several outstanding warrants. After receiving a tip today, Clay City police worked with Stanton Police, State Police, the Wolfe County Sheriff's Office, and Kentucky Fish and Wildlife to track down Anderson. Police say they arrested him at a home in Wolfe County. 3 people facing federal charges in a Magoffin County vote buying case say they're not guilty. Gary Reisner, Mason Daniels, and Scott McCarty have been arraigned in the case. Tammy Jo Reisner and Larry Shepard also face charges. A grand jury claims those charged were involved in a conspiracy to buy votes for County Clerk Renee Shepard and Judge Executive Doc Harden during the 2014 elections.
As technology evolves, we find ourselves having to make adjustments just to keep up. Many of us have made the decision to go paperless. We've traded in our envelopes and stamps and checks for a username, password, and a credit card. But what happens when you die? Can you just transfer all that information to someone else? It's just not that easy. Investigative reporter Miranda Combs has the story.
For a will, there is a trust, not necessarily money, but an understanding that when your life ends, these papers will make sure your belongings are taken care of.
They say life is complicated. Where do you see death?
Different that a computer expert is talking about death, but it's coming up now more often than before because he deals with the life of people online.
We used to just have physical lives, but we now have these digital lives.
And when physical life ends, your digital life is in limbo, a life you've updated for years with pictures, music, memories, maybe not much money attached, but full of value.
And what it turns out is in almost all of those cases, well, you don't actually own them, you're just using them, and your heirs don't really have rights or the ability to get to them.
That content may in fact be deleted.
That's where attorneys like Tim Dunn come in.
The assets that have the sentimental value that take the most work to get those disputes resolved.
He specializes in estate planning.
A lot of my clients have started to identify the issues that are there, like what happens to these accounts whenever I pass away.
So far, the answer for many with many online accounts is password managers, so a person can pass their passwords to whoever they prefer. But that, Dunn says, wouldn't hold up in court. There is a provision on most social media sites that will not allow the user to transfer the accounts to someone else, meaning you aren't supposed to give out your passwords to anyone.
That stops it right there, right? It makes that type of just someone else using the information that you've set aside to access your account a criminal offense.
To attempt to get around that, Dunn has written an additional clause to wills for digital assets to fall to the executor.
Adding that language in definitely doesn't hurt anything and potentially gives the fiduciary some type of standing to act if at all possible, after the user is unable to do so.
But that's not foolproof, Dunn knows, but for now, it's all he knows to do to protect property that sometimes means more than money.
So the solution is really a legislative solution.
Miranda Combs, WKYT.
And on that note, in 2014, a national group lobbied lawmakers across this country to change state laws to give survivors broad rights to access digital data. Their efforts made it here to Kentucky, but state lawmakers did not make the change.
For the UK basketball team, the road to the Final Four will begin in Des Moines. But if you are heading to Iowa to watch the Cats in the NCAA tournament, be careful where you buy your tickets. The Better Business Bureau says the online ticket market is filled with scams and false advertisements. While some ticket websites have money-back guarantees, experts say money orders are nearly impossible to recover.
If you wire money to someone, that's a big no-no because there's just no guarantees on anything. That's like throwing money in the street. You won't be able to recover it if you've shot it to a con artist and you don't get anything in return.
The NCAA says the only 100% guaranteed way to buy and sell tournament tickets is through the NCAA Ticket Exchange website. If you are traveling on New Circle Road in Lexington later tonight, you may run into a delay.
At 7 tonight, state road crews will close the left lane of the inner loop of New Circle at Versailles Road. They say they need to close that lane to move a temporary barrier wall. The left lane is scheduled to reopen at 11 tonight. This work is part of the ongoing project to widen New Circle Road in that area.
New tonight, a Lexington restaurant is closed after just 3 months in business. Macho Nacho at High and Euclid and Chevy Chase closed over the weekend. In a Facebook post, the owner, Aaron Rothke, said the restaurant went well over budget in opening and was low on working capital. He also said the payroll and food costs were too high and sales weren't keeping up. Rothke said he takes full responsibility, but he thanked his staff and customers. He said the restaurant is now considering its options.